Hey everyone, it's Dave Carlo from Razor, and you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
There's my partner, Chris, another Canadian.
Oh yeah, I'm freaking Canadian already.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
where are you? Are you in Guelph?
I'm from Guelph, yeah.
Yeah, where are you now?
I'm in Guelph, yeah. My house in Guelph.
Holy shit, man!
Yeah. Where are you from?
Vancouver.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about the other side of Canada, but yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
I live on. I'm from the left coast, but now I live in Washington D.C. So there you go.
You've been well. That's a transplant. But how often do you get back to Vancouver?
I haven't been back since 2018.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, before the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time I went back, but holy shit, did I get wasted when I went back. People don't realize Canadian beer is like way stronger than American beer.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Oh, God, dude, you have no idea.
I mean, I just associate Canadian beer with like Rolling Rock or some bullshit. Is there good stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, I see. Now I don't smoke anymore. But when I smoked back in the '80s too, the Canadian cigarettes were great too.
Yeah.
I heard them just because now that I'm getting older though, when you get to be my age, you don't mind the weaker beer. It's not so bad.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to get sucker punched every time I have a beer now. So
yeah, when I came to the U.S., I was like, oh, I'll try Miller Lite. And I was like, fuck, this is like water. Next thing I know, I'm like, fuck, I drank a case of beer. I don't even feel it.
Just do it.
Now it hits me like on a bricks.
Yeah,
I go back to Canada.
Yeah, you go to Canada, you go to Canada, right?
Wow.
Oh, fuck, 2 beers in, I'm like, woo!
Oh, that's it. No. When I have a beer now, it's a Coors Light. That's it. I just go easy to drink, not too powerful. Actually, I'm more of a whiskey drinker anyway. I don't drink beer that much anyway, because beer for me is just a constant trip to the fucking bathroom. So you have to piss every 5 minutes. So I get tired of that.
So let's talk Razor. Yeah, I'm recording.
Yeah.
Let's talk Razor.
Are you recording? Okay,
I am recording.
Okay, I'm ready to rock. Okay, so right off the bat, let's start by telling you guys, I think you made some gesture there. I'm partly blind. Now, do you know that? You're not aware of that? So now you know. I can't tell what you're doing. You did something there. I know there's a person there, but I couldn't tell you. When you first came on, I can't tell male, female. I had to listen for your voice. So I got that.
He told me to fuck off with his fingers, basically.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
A gesture. I wasn't sure if it was the horns or what it was, but I can't see that. You could do that to me through the whole interview. You could flip me.
So what was the
I wouldn't even know.
What was the reason or the impetus to get Cycle of Contempt out after so many years?
Well, really what it came down to is the internet and the rediscovery of the band, about 15 years ago by a lot of people. Once the internet got to the high-speed era and people could download music, a lot of people discovered the band for the first time. And that led to a continual, increase in the interest in the band. And I would get offers over the years to perform, and at first we'd say no, and then things just started to get more, there was more momentum and more better offers, and I realized, well, wait a minute, it looks like people are interested in the band again. So we started talking about it. We got together, we did a few shows in the early 2000s, and then it just a momentum, right? And around 2014 or so, decided that we would start performing regularly again. And the more we did it, the more we saw the audiences everywhere. We got to go all over the world, and we realized people want a new Razor album. So that's what got us to decide to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to read you a YouTube comment because I love these. These are the best. It says, I've never heard of Razor, but I just listened to this song with a consistent headbang and nasty face. So I'm definitely going to be listening to Razor more.
That's
and
fantastic.
being a Canadian, you guys were kind of a little bit ahead of my time, so I didn't really know about you. But now that I've listened, I'm like, holy shit! Like, I imagine back in the '80s when you were doing this, did you do a lot of touring with Annihilator or deal with those guys in any way?
Well, Annihilator came out about 5 years after us.
Yeah.
So I didn't even meet Jeff Waters until 2015. That's when I met him.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I emailed with him in the early 2000s. He was emailing me, telling me that he would love to record me sometime. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh, this guy Jeff Waters has been emailing me." I'm like, Jeff Waters, he's from Annihilator. I go, okay, I don't know who he is,
Right.
but yeah. So I met him in 2015. Lovely guy. We played a show with him. That's how I met him. And yeah, but as far as influence, I don't know if we influenced him at all or not. But he's a big Razor fan, and I had him join us on stage to do one of our songs in Calgary in 2016. We played with him because he knows the catalog pretty well, so we got him on stage. It was pretty cool.
That's
that's
awesome.
YouTube. Yeah, that's on YouTube.
This is something that I find interesting because as a Canadian, I didn't even know anything about Annihilator until I was on 70,000 Tons of Metal in 2011, and I was like, "Oh, who's this band?" And then they're like, "Oh, they're Canadian metal gods," and I was just like, "Oh, I didn't even know." So I go online and I look, and they're playing like Vakken and all these places. I'm like, "Holy shit, I had no idea." And there's this kind of underground metal in Canada that happens, and I think it's kind of coming up to the forefront a little bit more now than it was before. Do you find it hard being a metal band in a country that's kind of not overtly metal crazy?
Well, I did find it hard in the '80s when we started out, not because of the fans, because the fans were fantastic, but the establishment sucked. The agents, the managers, the they just had a complete blind eye to the kind of music we were playing. They didn't, and when they did pay attention to it, they laughed at it. They didn't take it seriously. They laughed at Metallica. They laughed at Slayer. They laughed at all those bands, and they laughed at Razor. So we couldn't get the gigs that we wanted. We couldn't get the opportunities to hook up with other bands that were on the rise, and that affected us. And 90% of it was because we were in Canada and we decided to see that we played. We needed to be either in the States or in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a band like Razor probably paved the way for someone like Devin Townsend, who realized, I can't do this in Canada. I have to move.
Yeah.
All right. I have to take it somewhere else. And it's probably Razor that did that for a lot of Canadian metal musicians. Do you ever feel that kind of responsibility of carrying like the Canadian metal torch?
Well, I mean, that's always flattering when people tell me that we influenced them, or that they consider us like a pioneer of the style that we play. Absolutely. I mean, it's just gratifying, right? I mean, it's flattering, and it's nice when we play a show and we meet a younger band and we're getting all this respect. And I quite often I don't know who they are, but it's really cool. Then I find out later they're a big deal, and I don't even know that, and so yeah. I mean, that's nothing but good. It's a wonderful feeling to know that you're important to those people.
Yeah,
Bruce.
So yeah, I was just gonna say I am a thrash head from the way back, and I totally am digging what you guys have done. I, for one, wasn't very familiar with you guys until I started doing research for this, and I don't know how I missed you in the heyday, but absolutely love Flames of Hatred. So thrashy, so amazing, so kick-ass. It's right up my wheelhouse.
Thank you. Now, have you guys had a chance to hear the rest of the record yet? Did they send it to you, or you haven't heard it yet?
No.
Oh,
no, just a single.
You're going to love it. I'm going to be honest with you. Flames of Hatred's a decent track, but it's by no means, in my opinion, the best track on that album.
Oh, really?
For me, it's this is just my opinion, but it's probably one of my least favorite on the album in terms of overall intensity and power. And I am the guy who's the driving force when it comes to the level of intensity of the band. As I write all the music, right? So I mean, I have a pretty strong, but that doesn't mean I don't love the song because I wrote it, so obviously I do. But Yeah, I think there's better songs on the album. Yeah.
Holy shit.
You'll love it.
Dude, because this reminded me of like when I turned it on, I was like, this is like old school thrash. Like
Yes.
it made me just want to get in the pit and
That's
rip,
what we want.
you know?
That's what we're going for sure.
So how did you end up on Relapse?
Well, Relapse had a guy who worked for them who was a huge Razor fan, and he just emailed me and asked me about the possibility of doing some reissues, which this is about 10 years ago now. And we just we formed a bit of a alliance there, and we did some reissues of some of our old albums, 3 of them: Violent Restitution, Shotgun Justice, and Open Hostility. They reissued those for us in 2015. Did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And I like working with those guys. I mean, I actually went down to Philly to meet them, look them in the eye, and have a look at the operation. And it's all about metal. And that, for me, was very comfortable because in the 80s, the label we signed with was not a metal label. It was a generic, just make money label that did all the styles of music. And that caused us not to get much attention. And it was just nice to work with a bunch of people that are fans and care a lot about the quality of what's going out to the fans. So I just had a good feeling about them from the very beginning. I've been working with them for almost 10 years now, and that feeling is still there. And,
amazing.
Working with them. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think there's been a big rise in metal labels, coming up because the big labels, they don't really like metal unless you're Metallica, and then they want to give you everything because you already have everything. So like labels like Relapse and Nuclear Blast, Napalm, there's so many coming up. They're really supporting this metal scene that's really, I kind of think we're on the verge of a new metal thing about to happen.
Absolutely.
I think that this style of music, we've been able to prove to the world that it has a broad appeal, but we took the internet to get that out to people. It was because it wasn't getting the exposure, right? Like your partner, gentleman there, he said he didn't know how he missed us, but that's exactly what happened, right? We slipped through the cracks because there just isn't enough coverage for these kind of bands. And so, every now and then you go, oh my God, how did I miss these guys? They were around in the 80s and I never heard of them. Well, I think that's our story with a lot of people. And I honestly believe this album is going to do that with a lot of people because we have an American label for the first time. And I believe that they're going to help us reach a lot of new people. And some of them are going to be even my age. Like thrashers from my era are going to be like, I didn't know about these guys. And I'm welcoming everybody. Fantastic news that you're finally able to know about our band and hear us and enjoy it. And that makes me feel really good. That's really, I think, the biggest potential for us is to reach people. I believe our music has a bigger appeal than we've ever been able to reach. So we're getting a chance now. So I hope the whole scene explodes like it did in the early 80s. That would just be so awesome.
Well, what you're talking about just happened to me today. Because I this has got to get louder. So it's happened to me today, which is great. Very, very cool.
Yep. Well, go back to Spotify and put on Violent Restitution. And put on Shotgun Justice, because those are right up the alley of this style. So, but those are from the 80s. But those are worth a listen. They're worth a good listen.
What was the
old ones? Of course, we're talking about 30 years of change.
Right.
So, because of the pandemic, though, we had to do it a little bit different. The drums were done in a completely different studio with a different engineer because we couldn't get together at a time when we needed to do it. It was like 20 or whatever when nobody was going out at all. Yeah, and we needed to get moving on this. So we did it like that, and then the rest of the studio work was done in the studio here in Guelph, and we just recorded the guitar, bass, and vocal parts. And in the past, my way of always doing things was guitars first.
Oh, cool.
You can do that nowadays because you can put a click track down, a metronome track down, and you can lay it over that. And so it's different. In the old days, you wanted the drummers on top of it. But we can do it in whatever order we choose. So that's the way we did it. Yeah. So it's different that way. And also, we had more time. We had more time because the budgets are better. You have ability to work. Like the recordings we did back in the 80s, Razor was always going into very professional, high quality studios with no budget. So we were always making records in 3 days and 4 days, and you'd be forced to make decisions about keeping things that you didn't, maybe it wasn't your best performance, but you got to move on.
Yeah.
So I remember, for example, there's a song on Violent Restitution. It's the first song on the album. It's instrumental with a scream over it. But I'm picking, and I dropped the pick at the end of the song. And it was the very end of the song. And up to that point, it had been pretty solid. So I left it. So, and you wouldn't probably notice it unless you're a guitar player or unless I tell you that it's there. But now I just told about bunch of people. So if they listen, they'll probably hear at the very end of the song, I play in this riff. It's a real fast riff. And all of a sudden at the end, the last time I play it, it's kind of sloppy sounding. And it's because I dropped my pick. And I was like, I'm not going to do it again. Album, my drummer dropped his sticks at the end of a song called Eve of the Storm on that record. And you can hear that too. He had to do a drum roll. He did it with his fists. So that's kind of, we left it
That's
on.
great.
That's fucking metal right there.
That's how it was. Yeah.
So I want to go back. I want to go back to something you said earlier.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a delay again. I want to go back to something you said earlier about these old school guys. But we were talking to Lawrence Garon of Styx just a little bit ago, and we're talking about how music now is so multi-generational, right? So you're probably getting a multi-generational crowd at your shows.
Totally, it's fantastic. Younger people, and you know what I do at our shows sometimes? Depends on the show, but I'll yell at the audience and I'll say, how many people here are under 40? How many people, you know what I mean? And we check it, and it's like, no matter what age group I yell for, it sounds about the same. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's amazing. I just, that's the best part of this is that when we were kids and we were doing this, everybody's parents hated this music, right? It's like, oh, what's that terrible music that David listens to? That's what my dad used to say. This horrible music David used to listen to. Me being David. But the thing is that now it's like, oh no, just really can relate to the music, the style we play. So that's pretty cool.
I think when thrash first came out, people in like that were like, oh, listen to Poison. Nothing wrong with any of those bands, but I don't think a lot of people were ready for the aggression that thrash brought out in them, and they don't this feeling, But some people really liked the feeling, and they went with it. But a lot of people were like, "Oh, I feel pretty aggressive. I don't know."
They were even like that with Motorhead and bands like Raven, early Raven and stuff. When they came out, I remember when Motorhead put out Ace of Spades. Their heads exploded like metal guys, and their heads exploded. It's like, well, this is insane. The pace and the relentlessness, And then Metallica came along and Slayer and some of the other bands. And we pushed the envelope, right? And yeah, same thing, right? The reaction is I don't know what to do about this. I remember I had a friend of mine who overreacted to Saxon when Saxon put out Wheels of Steel, the second album. And when he heard Motorcycle Man, he said, "Oh, it's too much. It's too much. It's too intense for him." Motorcycle Man from Saxon. So, he should listen to some of the other stuff that's out now and see if get his opinion,
Yeah. Imagine him listening to Gojira.
I haven't seen him since those days because he went off to university. I never saw him again. But I'd like to know what he thinks of, a band like Violator or Razor or Slayer,
right,
from Rain and Blood or something like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Bruce?
Sorry, I've got all kinds of
Bruce is on a delay here.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of delays on here. So what do you guys have planned? Are you planning on taking this out on the road?
Yes, absolutely. Now, my wife is fighting cancer, and I have had to take this year off because I'm
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
no, that's
man.
okay. That's okay, brother. It's well documented on the internet too. But the thing is, that has been the priority for me. I had a whole bunch of shows scheduled this year for Europe, mainly Europe. A couple of the stuff in the U.S. and a couple in Canada, but mostly Europe. We had some really big events over there. We were going to be playing rock hard festivals with upwards of 25,000, 30,000 people. And we had a lot of other ones, smaller ones too. We were going to play. We had a lot of gigs, and I had to pull out of all of them, which was unfortunate. But priority is my wife. I've been married to her for 25 years, and we have two. So I am taking bookings for 2023, and I have bookings for November of this year. One in England and one in Sweden that we're doing. And my wife is insisting I do these. She wants me to get out there and play too, but obviously I'm not gonna leave her if she's she's been fighting it now for 2.5 years, and honestly
Wow.
it's not going that well.
Oh, man.
So it's very tough, very tough. If you read more about my situation on the internet, you're gonna see there's a lot of tragedy around me, but that's not what I want to be known for, or I can't help what's going on. The pandemic was a real kick in the nuts for us, for all of us,
Yeah.
because of my age too, right? Because I'm 58. So the plan was get Cycle out, get it recorded before, and then hit the road in 2020. And then, I was hoping by for a couple of years. As it turns out, because of the pandemic and because of Rose, my wife, getting sick, it ends up that we're just getting to the point where the album's going to launch. So, I want to still go out there and do this as long as I can on mainstream music, because I love, one of my favorite bands of all time is AC/DC.
Absolutely.
If I was playing AC/DC's music, I could probably. It's a real endurance test. It's pretty relentless. You realize it's like this almost all the time. There's not much. It's relentless. It's it's like it's like the Rain and Blood Slayer almost all the time. And so on stage to do that all the time. I've had four hand surgeries over the years, and it's 100% because of the abuse I inflicted on them on the guitar.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a guitar punisher, right? I'm not a I'm a one of those. I'm cruel with the guitar, although
Bruce is cutting in and out. Sorry.
that's okay. We got it back. I think it's in progress. I'll hope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
good.
what's going on with my internet today. I'm sorry.
But Tom Araya, I remember because we played with Slayer when they were promoting Show No Mercy. We were opening shows for them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we met them back when they were first just starting out. I still got my autographed copy of Show No Mercy, by all four guys. But we did quite a few shows with them back in the day, and I got to witness they influenced my band. If you listen to my entire back catalog, you'll realize the first release was more of a Ravenish Motorhead type sound, and then it moved into this relentlessness right after we started hanging out with Slayer. And what happened is that I saw him banging his head like that all the time. Like he had this move where he would be like like this, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing. And that's that his hair would go forward. It was so intense, right? It was so cool. But yeah, I mean, that's got to be awful to snap your vertebrae in your neck when you're doing that move, right?
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure he had surgery for that, didn't he?
I'm sure he had to. I mean, that's something. I mean, my neck gets sore. I don't even headbang as much as I used to because of my age and everything, and also because it takes all my physical energy now to play the songs. But when I was younger, I had long hair and I headbanged like a maniac too. And I remember getting off stage and holding my neck for an hour afterwards. And I didn't even do what he did. So I'm thinking he's really been pushing it,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've come to the end here, Chris. You got anything else?
I don't, man. It was such a great great to meet you, man, and thank you for metal.
Yes.
Thank you for metal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for covering us. Thank you for telling new people about the band. Let them know that we're out there. Go back and check our other stuff out, my friends.
I will.
I'm proud of a lot of the work we did in the past too. But honestly, I mean, and a lot of bands say this, but I do believe what's coming up, what's going to be released on September 23rd, is the best work we've ever done. And I just think it's because we spent so much time and energy in making sure this was exactly what we thought the Razor fans wanted too. So it's the album I had the most involvement in, like micromanaged everything, and just wanted to make sure it was pristine for people to listen to, and not overproduced, raw as hell, and vintage, but still just intense. And check it out, guys. I'm very proud of it.
September 23rd.
Yes, and I thank you for carrying the thrash torch, because that's one of my favorite genres. So I appreciate you very much.
Well, I hope to see you in Richmond. I'm going to come down there. We're going to kick ass with Richmond at some point, and I hope to see you and meet you there.
Awesome.
Fucking rights.
Thank you, my friend, for taking the time. Sorry about my internet connection.
It's all good. Thank you for helping us out, guys.
And give your wife our best, okay?
Yes, please.
I will do.
Best of luck.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk to you again sometime.
Cheers, my friends. Take
Cheers.
care.
All the best.
Bye.